Do you know who and what you are? Do you know what I see when I look out at all of you? I see these beautiful, perfect, divine beings of love and light and joy and energy. That's what I see. How does that make you feel? It's going to make you feel exactly the way you choose to feel, because you could believe me and you can take that on as your own, or you could say, really? She's looking at me and seeing that? The choice is yours. Makes no matter what I'm telling you. It's what you are perceiving and accepting as the reality and the truth for yourself. This month, we are focusing on the 4 agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz's book, and I didn't bring it with me this morning. But we are, the second agreement, this is the second week of the month, is don't take anything personally. And what that means is that each individual person is literally coming from their own space. Our own perception, our own ideas. We are the director and writer and movie star of our lives. And that's how we're living it, from the inside out. Yet, we are in this community of life. We don't live on an island, isolated by anyone and everything. And so we recognize that we have these interactions. We have the availability and the opportunity to accept what others are bringing to the table for us. And what we talked about last week in the first agreement, we do have a book here. Do we have them for sale, Judy? We don't have them. At the lending library. Well, here you go. Well, if somebody wants to get one loaned, then here we go. So we have the opportunity to recognize remember the first agreement that we talked about last week was be impeccable with your word. And we talked about the fact that the word is the creative energy in the Bible. Everything started with the Word. In John, we hear that. And so the Word was with God, and God is the Word. And so we are made in that image and likeness of God, and we are creative energies, forces, beings. And so we create with our thoughts and with our subsequent words. And so we want to make sure that we are creating and experiencing a life that is based on truth, that is based on love, that is based on joy, that is based on wholeness. That is the truth of what we are as a spiritual being. And yet we can choose something else. We can choose to come from that ego self that says we're separate, that says we're an individual, that says I got to claw and scrape and make it on my own. I got to make it happen. I was in a company. I worked there for 15 years, and their motto was "Make it happen." And I guess in business at times, that was their perspective on it. Make it happen. And yet, I think at this point in time, I have grown anyway more spiritually minded and recognizing just this morning, waking up and looking at this beautiful, beautiful life, this beautiful energy around us this day. How many of you went to the Bee Festival yesterday? I saw some of you there. When the Women's Club had all fun things going on. And you could write it, and they had you write affirmations. Literally, they didn't call them that, but they were. They said, write down a little saying that you want your bee to say. It had little bees, and you could put them up on a board. And Becky wrote, "It's a beautiful day." And this morning as we were driving to church, she goes, "It's a beautiful day." And I thought, it is. And I'm so glad, you know what, that I'm in it and I didn't have to make it. It's right here for us, for the taking, for the participating of it, for the enjoyment of it, for the living it. To me, what a wonderful, wonderful way to be, to recognize this life that we've been given. And so that says that we are living in joy. We are living in love. We are living in truth. And whenever we fall prey to that little ego self, that small self, what's happening is that we are forgetting. And we're coming from that fear. The fear that says, I'm not enough. There's not enough time. There's not enough of whatever, right? And so what we recognize is that when we are with someone else in our relationships, we want to be able to hear the truth. We want to be able to speak the truth. And when you become aware, you will be able to know the difference easily, readily, quickly, if you are hearing and you are speaking the truth or not. If you are coming from love or if you are coming from fear, you will know it within your heart. And if you are coming from fear, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. You know, we're not here to say that we can just be this perfect being in experience all the time. We are a perfect being. But sometimes our experience gives us opportunities for growth. I was reading a story that talked about buck knives. You know what buck knives are? Buck Knives is a company founded here in San Diego. Hoyt Buck, he started it after World War II with his son, Al. They worked hard to produce 5 knives a day. And they, on each of the wrappers that they put on the knives, they put John 3:16. You know what that one is? For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, whoever shall believe in him shall not perish, but have life everlasting. So they put that on the 5 knives that they made a day. That was on the wrapper. By 1948, Al became the master grinder of the blades, as his father was diagnosed with cancer. And so Al took over the business, and his son Chuck came into the business as well. So we've got 3 generations going on buck knives. In 1975, Chuck and his wife Lori experienced a marital crisis, and they turned to God for help. The both of them did, to sort out their problems. And Chuck was so grateful that he asked Al if we can give our customers something more than just a sharp knife. And so at this point in time, they were making over 2 million knives a year. And Al agreed, and they wrote this message on their knives, or with the knife. Now that you are family, you might want to know a little more about our organization. From the beginning, management determined to make God the senior partner. In a crisis, the problem was turned over to him, and he hasn't failed us. If any of you are troubled, or perplexed, or are looking for answers, may we invite you to look for him, for God loves you. They received thousands of letters in support of their message. One came from a woman who bought the knife to use on herself. She read the message and asked God for help. Chuck says each buck knife has to pass through a 2,000-degree tempering fire. Those blades passing through that furnace always makes me think of our souls passing through the trials of the world. It takes that fire to make a buck knife strong. I believe it's the same way with hard knocks of life. God uses them to turn us into something that will last. We all have our trials in life. We all have our fires, our burdens, our situations that come forth. And they come forth to help us know that there is something greater within me, around me, that I can access, that will help me become stronger, that will help me bring out more of what I am. I loved the little, I told you about tithing to Catherine Ponder, and she sent this little booklet when we tithed to her. She sent this little book called How to Accomplish Great Things with Ease. And she had written this, I think it was in the 80s, copyright 1983. And I can't read the whole thing to you right now, but she gives a couple examples of people who used prayer in a situation in life where they didn't have enough time. There was one of the examples was a fellow he was a journalist, and he had 3 assignments that he had to do in one day. And she said, this is almost impossible for someone to do 3 writing assignments in one day. So he decided that he would start his day. He took 1 hour of meditation. Went into 1 hour of meditation, and in that hour of meditation, with his intention in that meditation, he was able to come up with all of these different ideas, and he easily, then when he went about to doing his writing, able to accomplish his goal. We need to remember the power that we have within us and take the time and the energy and the priority to access it. She was talking about the little tiny bit of brain that we use. I don't know the percentage of it, but it's just an infinitesimal amount that we literally use every day in our brains. And many of it's because we keep repeating the same thing over and over again. We have these habits of thinking the same thing. That's why we call our teaching New Thought. Let's have a new thought today. And so what we make of our lives is the choices that we make, literally. It's not somebody else doing it to us. We've gone beyond the victim stage, guys. We know that we are responsible for our lives and that we have the authority and the dominion to be able to state what it is we want, just like selling our condo and having everything ready on March 22nd. We have that authority. We can claim it. We can name it. One of the other things I wanted to share with you this morning is the story of Spud Webb. Anybody remember Spud Webb? Spud Webb was a basketball player. Well, I see somebody nodding their head. And I pulled up some information about him because he had the wherewithal, he had the knowledge, he had the recognition of who he was. Everybody else looked at him and saw something else, but he knew who and what he was. So he could dunk a basketball when he was 5'3" tall. He played the junior varsity. The only reason why he got to play in the junior varsity in high school was because 2 team members hadn't done what they were supposed to do in recognition of being able to be on the team. So he was like the 3rd substitute, and they finally let him on. However, once he started playing, he got noticed. He made the varsity team in high school, and he averaged 26 points per game. He received his first opportunity in college basketball. He attended Midland College in Texas, and he helped that junior college attain a national title in 1982. He was 5'7" tall. He'd grown that much, 5'7". He led the Midland College team to defeat the number 1 ranked team, previously unbeaten. The score was 93-88 in double overtime. Webb led all the scorers in that game with 36 points. He made 10 out of 15 shots from the floor. His performance in that game won him a write-up in Sports Illustrated. And there he went on to get a scholarship at even a greater, bigger university and go on. He went on to the NBA. And in college, his vertical leap, and I brought this to show you. In college, his vertical leap was 42 inches. Now, I'm going to show you literally what 42 inches is. I bought this nice little, does anybody remember these little sticks? Yeah. I love these little sticks. This one happened to be, I bought it at the vintage place here in Alpine, and it's so interesting because it's actually broken off at 42 inches. That's how high this guy could vertically jump. 42 inches. Now, all of us have our own talents and our own gifts. We need to be aware of them, acknowledge them. Don't let anybody else tell you what you can and you should and you shouldn't do. When you listen to your heart, when you listen to your guidance, it's going to tell you what's right for you. I know some of you have heard this before, but my mother, who was, from Memphis, Tennessee, she had that saying. You know how you're talking about somebody and somebody will walk up and you'll go, oh, we were just talking about you. It happens a time or two, right? And no, my mother told me this is what you say, and I know that you've heard this before, some of you. So when somebody says, oh, we just talking about you, and a lot of people go, oh, they're going to fright over it. No, not us. In this room, we say, oh, honey, you couldn't have had a better subject. That is the truth. All of us are the best subjects available to life. And you know what? We're going to grow. We're going to change. We're going to evolve. We're going to go through those fires of life that are going to fire us to grow. Recognize that. It's interesting how little tiny things in life, just look at them as a blessing, look at them as a lesson, look at them as a way to reveal more and more and more. I told you, I maybe some of you don't know, but I just moved. And it didn't dawn on me until about, 4 or 5 days after the move that I was sleeping on the wrong mattress. I got this crick in my neck. Mary Kay, I need to get a massage from you, please. And I ended up with this crick, but I'm in pain, and I'm asking the pain, what are you sharing with me? What is the gift that you are giving me here, so that I can move on and receive what you're giving me and move on from here? That's what life is about. It's about knowing that I am speaking my truth. And if someone else is saying a truth about you that you don't accept, you don't have to accept it. You can acknowledge them, you can bless them, you can release them, but you don't have to. Don Miguel talks about not accepting the poison that others are spewing. That you don't have to accept that. If they're not feeling good, if they're coming from a less than place, then bless them. And know that that they are doing their very best. And if we are saying something about ourselves or to someone else that really isn't the best, bless yourself. Love yourself. Say, I'm doing my best I can. And move on from there. So that's what we're about. This month we're speaking with the truth, be impeccable with our words. Knowing the truth, that we're perfect whole beings, we're love and expression. And then this week we're looking at, don't take anything personally. Everybody's living in their own beautiful, loving world. And just do the best you can at this moment. And know that you are the perfect subject for any conversation. And so it is. Namaste.